absolutely dominated. The Wallabies score 38 unanswered points from being 22-0 down at the 19th minute mark. They fight their way back. An historic win for the Wallabies. 62 years since their last win in Johannesburg versus the Springboks. This Wallabies win is great for rugby. It's great for rugby in Australia. And it's also great for some Springbok fans, not all Springbok fans, but for some Springbok fans, to know that the Springboks are not invincible. Previous results don't guarantee future results. You've got to turn up every game. You've got to be at your best, because no matter who you come up against can knock you off on their day. The Wallabies are well and truly back. Before we get into it, let me know in the comments what you guys thought of the game. Who played well, who didn't? What did the Springboks do well in that first quarter and then not do well for the rest of the game? What did the Wallabies struggle with in that first quarter and then do really well for the rest of the game? Exceptional, outstanding, what a win. Rugby needed this. Rugby Australia needed this. The Wallabies needed this. How good? Let me know in the comments. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get into it. So I'll start with the Springboks first. Come out absolutely firing. That first 20 minutes, first 15 minutes, I think everyone is thinking this game is going to blow out. It's going to be 50 points because the Springboks were just clinical. Everything they did, Grant Williams' box kicks, pinpoint the contesting of those box kicks, pinpoint Wallabies making a ton of errors. Springboks were dominant in all contact areas. Everything they were doing was just turning to goal, turning to points. And I thought, oh man, this is going to be bad for the Wallabies. So massive credit to the Wallabies to come back from that. So with the box, obviously starting how they want to start, the pinpoint box kicks, like I said, Wallabies coughing that ball up or making errors, Springboks knowing exactly then what to do, everyone knowing their role as well, getting that ball, shifting the point of contact from turnovers, urgency at breakdown, effectiveness with their clean outs, good contact or dominant carries into contact, and then just executing on their plays really, really well. What I liked about Esterhuizen's try was how Grant Williams is using the forwards. So not just hitting that first player, kind of hitting that third, fourth player, sucking in a ton of defenders from the Wallabies. So at this point, he hit Eben Etzebeth, made contact, brought about 3 or 4 Wallabies with him. Then it's quick ball at ruck time, getting the ball to Manie Lebok, throwing that beautiful cutout ball to Jesse Creel, gets on the outside, drawn pass, and Esterhuizen goes over. Quick ruck speed, using that third, fourth player to suck defenders in, and then getting your ball players with their hands on the ball, creating space for players out wide and executing on that. Really, really good. And then just dominating contact areas, getting over the advantage line, quick ruck speed. Guys are there, they're sucking defenders in. Siya Kolisi picks the ball up, goes through, hands off, goes over untouched. And at this point, it's 22-0, 19 minutes in. You're like, this is not good for the Wallabies, and it's almost open floodgates already for the Springboks. Their line speed was good defensively, and then they started to get found out wide and then short as well. And what I thought they did really well with one-out runners was the one-out runners were, yes, isolated, but those guys were going to deck, and then their placement of the ball was really good. So while they were isolated and you think, oh, the Wallabies could attack rucks. And yes, while they did attack their rucks really well at some stages, but I think the Springboks did that really well. It was taking the ball into contact. There was only one man there, and he's hitting the deck, but then recoiling, making that place real far back. So it's hard to attack the ball defensively. But I will say McWright did well to get in and make a couple steals there for sure. And then in the second half, lineouts probably weren't that clinical. Nick Frost, Harry Wilson picked off a couple lineouts. Started the game like house on fire, scored points until the 19th minute mark, and then just nothing. nothing. And that's full credit to the Wallabies. Not saying just nothing from the Springboks. They still threw everything they had at the Wallabies, but massive credit to the Wallabies because they stood up in this game, backs against the wall. No one gave them any chance to win this. 22 points down in the 19th minute and come back and just put Springboks to the sword. Outstanding performance this from the Wallabies. But still, I'll get to the Wallabies in a minute. Still touching on the Springboks. Marnie Leborg, again, started really well, but then threw the intercept pass and kind of just trying to overplay his hand because he's trying to make things happen because it's not working. I think the Springboks forwards did really well in that first bit, but then just got found out in the second bit. It's almost like the altitude played against the Springboks, even though they've been there for the longest time and are used to it, and it should have played against the Wallabies. They looked lethargic, looked tired, especially in that last 20, 30 minutes. This is it. This is what rugby needed. Rugby needed this. Rugby needed this. The Wallabies needed this. Fantastic. Going over to the Wallabies. So dominated early on in all areas of the game. Like I said, the Springboks were just all over them like a rash. Strong dominated set piece, dominated rucks, dominated in the contact areas, dominated territory, dominated in possession, like all areas of the game in that first 20 minutes. But like they do, like we've seen in the British and Irish Lions tests, this Wallabies team have shown fight, and they show fight. They can stick in games. They can stay in it, ride the waves, and when they get opportunities, they can come back. They can score points. They can take it to you, and they did in this game. Outstanding from the Wallabies. All credit to the Wallabies. None of this excuses of the box weren't on song or none of that. All credit to the Wallabies for this win. Immense. Fantastic. So like I said, early on in that first half, dominated, yes, 22-0 down after 19 minutes. But all they needed to do was just get down that end of the field, play in the right areas of the field, string a few phases together, and they can show what they can do. And they did that with Dylan Peach's try. Played down the right areas of the field. I think they were in South Africa's half. Strung a few phases together, get into the 22. Len Ikitau, lovely pass, wraps around to get the ball again, draw and pass. Peach goes over to score. Showing what the Wallabies can do when they have the ball, when they can string a few phases together on the correct or the right side of the field. Go into the half, 22-5, and still it's all Springboks at this point, but needed to come out in that second half, needed to be the first team to score, and did that. Lovely short ball from Angus Bell. He had 17 on his back, put 10 on his back. The short ball to Harry Wilson goes over untouched. Lovely, lovely stuff. What I loved about the Wallabies and how they picked apart the Springboks rush defense. So while Springboks rush defense is one of their strong points of their game, Wallabies made it their weak point in this game. So Springboks are rushing up, and what Wallabies did well was playing those balls over the top. Their wingers were hanging deep to be options in that regard. But then what they were doing as well was playing the little short balls. So Angus Bell, that short ball. Angus Bell plays that short ball. Wilson goes straight over, untouched. In other points, James O'Connor, lovely ball over the top. Jorgo goes down the touchline, in, out, over Marnie Leborg, untouched, scores in the corner. Fantastic. Wallabies used Springboks' strong point of the game and turned it into their weak point. Fantastic. Just picking apart this Springboks defense. Massive defensive effort from the Wallabies as well. Springboks had a 5-meter line out. I think it was at the 50-minute mark. They defended the maul. Few phases. Tom Hooper gets a turnover on the line. Just showing the grit and determination from this Wallaby side. And it's fantastic to see. Rugby needed this. Rugby needed this. Huge play from Suali'i as well, picking off an intercept pass from Marnie Leborg. Didn't do too much throughout the game, but scores an intercept try from 50 meters out. Fantastic. And then Harry Wilson's second try, like silencing this crowd. Get the turnover from a kick, shift the point of contact. I say it all the time and I'll say it again. When you make a turnover, all the players are congested where that ball is. The space is wide. Shift the ball. They do that. Tom Wright busts through the middle. That's the guy you want to get his hands on the ball off the back of a turnover. Drawn pass out the back. Harry Wilson does his knee in the process of scoring that try, but scores a try. He's second. And man, what a captain's knock from Harry Wilson. But that was fantastic from the Wallabies. Turnover ball, shift it, get the space, make the line break. Drawn pass, Harry Wilson goes over to score. Now, like I said earlier about James O'Connor reading or picking apart this Springboks rush defense, that umbrella or banana defense. Curtly Orense, Edward van der Merwe, Jesse Creel really caught in tight, having those balls thrown over the top. Jorgo in space. 101, one of the best. Has to be up there with one of the best finishers in World Rugby at the moment. Jorgensen does Manie Lebok in, out. See you later. Over in the corner. Fantastic. And just an out and out. I'm speechless. Outstanding from the Wallabies. Rode the wave in that first half, up against it, at altitude, 80,000 mad Springbok fans screaming at them. They're 22-0 points down at the 19-minute mark, and they go 38 unanswered points. Outstanding. What a kickoff to the Rugby Championship. Wallabies, well done. Springboks, back to the drawing board. What can you come up with next week? That'll be the big question. Outstanding from the Wallabies. Outstanding. Tom Wright, probably my man of the match there. Mick Wright was fantastic as well. A ton of turnovers. I thought Harry Wilson with a huge captain's knock, scoring 2 tries, limped off the field with a knee injury. Hope he's good to go next week. Jorgo was fantastic. Len Igitau and Tuali'i in the midfield were unreal. I thought Nick White was good as well. Skelton did what he needed to do. Carried the ball, physical. Outstanding. How good from the Wallabies. How good for rugby. What did you guys think of it? Let me know in the comments. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Bye.